Hello and welcome back to Storytime with Mary's Child Development Series. We are still loving our conversations with Baba Darzi. So Baba is a clinical psychologist from a company called Hearts and Minds Aloud, and she's based in Ghana. Hi Baba, how are you?
Hello, Mary. I'm very well, and it's always a pleasure to speak to you too.
The pleasure is all mine because, as I said, I'm loving our conversations. And this week, we are going on a different tangent because the children in the UK anyway, they have half term this week. So they're off for a week. And I'm envious of the teachers who are getting a break, and we're really grateful to them for all the hard work they've put in helping us to raise our kids. And obviously we have to take over now. But I've really been thinking about, the enormous contribution that teachers make to raising our children. And I've been looking at some quotes about how we can appreciate teachers. And I found one particular quote that really struck a chord with me and really is quite deep around how we can appreciate teachers. So it says, teachers take a hand, open a mind, and touch a heart. I feel like that's so deep and I really want to pick it apart. So Baba, I want to start with teachers take a hand. What do you take from that part of the quote?
That's such an interesting quote. I've never heard it before, and I'm actually grateful that you mentioned it this morning. And it's so accurate in, describing how valuable teachers are. And for anybody who doubted that or argued that if you were a parent or a guardian and you had to teach your kids to assume the role of a teacher during the coronavirus, I believe that now that message has hit home, that the value that teachers bring into the lives of our children and into our lives, because we can't always do what they do. I mean, it cannot be overemphasized. And so going back to that quote, like I said, I think it's so apt in that when you think about somebody taking a hand, I think about it in terms of leadership. Okay, so you kind of knowing or being aware or having already been introduced to a certain path, and then you take somebody's hand and then you are sort of leading them down that path. And so I believe that in many ways, that's who teachers are to our children, okay? Because we know that what they teach them is beyond book knowledge. It is beyond what they are reading in the books or what they are doing academically. But in terms of values, of morals, being able to socialize, they also do a lot. Most of the time when we talk about how we teach our kids, we refer to what's been done in school as well, because we know that we do our part as parents, but they spend a significant amount of time in school as well. So this is where the teachers come in. They act as guides to our children and as guardians as well. So, protecting them and keeping them, basically leading them the right way.
Brilliant. And that's a really interesting perspective. As you say, teachers have been, guiding our children, and they've been playing the role really when we're not there to raise our kids. So they're so important. How about the next bit of the quote though, about open a mind? What do you take from that bit?
I almost feel like that should be opening a life, because it feels like they open the children up. They open the children up to so many things, so many experiences. And sometimes the experiences are not necessarily physical, but it would be through the teaching material they use. So through books, through stories, through videos, through the interaction that they encourage between children in the school environment. Okay. So, I mean, we've talked about emotional development. We've talked about social development. We've talked about children being adventurous through reading and all of that. These are things that teachers facilitate. Okay. So they introduce different perspectives on different issues to their child, which, they are able to build up while they are out of school, or for certain perspectives that the children have from home, the teachers also build on that. So I think that they open them up to a lot. And if you have a good teacher, then you know that your child is being influenced and impacted positively. And then also if, the influence is not positive, you know that you have a lot to deal with in terms of correcting those negative perspectives. So yeah, they do have a big impact in opening the child's life up to different perspectives and experiences.
So that is so lovely. And the last part of the quote, touching a heart, that sounds so special. What do you make of that, Mama?
So I would refer to the emotional development of children, the emotional development, growth, formation of children. I'm almost tempted to say that teaching is a purpose. If you could do it from a very you could do it with a very mechanical approach, but I'm not sure that you would achieve a lot, in that you have to love what you do. And loving what you do is what probably lets you teach with empathy, in that you put yourself in the child's shoes. Okay, so that's where the emotional connection comes in that you look at all of the factors that helps the child learn, read, socially connect and thrive. Okay, and that connection goes beyond just standing in front of them in the classroom and giving out a tall list of orders. Okay, so you leave an impact on the child's life in terms of how you connect with them, what sort of kindness you show to them, how patient you are with them, and how well you're able to teach them the value of these things so they can reciprocate it to you, to their friends, to their parents, and to everybody else outside the classroom. So I would think about the emotional bit of teaching, how grounded the teachers are emotionally, and how well they are able to reach out to the children, and then, bring a sort of holistic feel or element to the work that they do with children in school.
So Baba, which bit do you think is easier for a teacher, to unlock a mind or touch a heart?
I don't necessarily think any of it is easier. If the teacher decides to focus on one part because it speaks to them. So in that case, I'll say if they decide to focus on the academic part, which would be opening a mind, teaching them new things out of books and all of that, because it speaks to them, it might seem easy for them to do. It also depends on how the child is responding, because there are certain children who won't connect with you, or you won't get much out of them until you've been able to unlock that, emotional, but you've been able to connect with them on an emotional level. So I wouldn't say any of it is easy to do. I think every teacher, because if they want maximum results, should set out trying to do all three and do their best. They probably won't be able to get it right all at once, but if with that goal in mind, I think that at different times they will succeed with each of them. And like we said, the goal is to get a holistic approach, or make a holistic impact on the child.
And I think next time we'll definitely need to try and find a teacher to join us on this panel to continue this conversation.
Indeed, that would be very useful.
Exactly, it's such an important conversation. And again, we love teachers, but what kind of person do you think, Baba, makes a good teacher?
Well, the person who loves to teach, first off, because we know that whatever you love, you probably will pay attention to and you will thrive at. And the person who's been trained to be a teacher, I don't think that it's enough to just love it and not have the skill to translate what you love into actual professional work, because you're dealing with people's lives. But I think these basic traits, in that you loving to teach, you paying attention to detail, okay, you having that ability to pay attention to detail and to discern certain personality traits in children on a basic level. Okay, so for example, if you found that your child needed professional help, your student needed professional help, you should be able to detect that and make that sort of referral. So you being attentive, paying attention, those sorts of traits are important for a teacher who wants to be successful.
Brilliant. And I really think that teaching is a calling. I love my kids. I absolutely adore my kids, but I just can't imagine taking care of 30 of them every single day. So we really appreciate teachers. We love you. We love what you're doing. And we really just wanted to show our appreciation for you. Baba, is there anything you wanted to add before we finish?
Well, very much in line with this absolutely useful conversation, I would say that there's a World Teacher Appreciation Day, and if I'm not mistaken, it's on the 5th of October. Of course, if we didn't make an attempt to celebrate that, it means that we missed it this year. However, it's a good day to commit to memory for next year, so that now, with everything that's happening this year, knowing how valuable your teacher is to your child and to you, you make an attempt to show them the appreciation next year. I think that it would be a great gesture that we should all aim to yes.
And even at my grand old age, my favorite teacher was my first teacher. Her name was Mrs. Tweedy, and she was such a lovely lady. And
brilliant.
It really sticks in your mind when you have a really special teacher in your life. Teachers, we just want to say enjoy your break this week and put your feet up, have a coffee, and we'll be back next week. All right. It's been great catching up with you again, Barbara, and I will speak to you again next time.
It's been a great conversation, Mary. Have a great week.
Okay, bye.